Hey guys, today's topic we're going to focus on transaction structures. So you're selling your business, and it looks like the route that you're going to take is that you're going to stay on board and be part of the new entity. So, what does that kind of a deal look like? So, in any transaction, you really have a couple key concepts. The first is the price. So, the price really is the money on the table. And price can come in several forms. One form could be just straight up cash. So that's cash that people give you. Another form could be stock in the new entity. This is if you're going into a partnership with somebody or you're getting rolled into a larger company. Another could be salary. So, are you going to stay on and get paid a salary? Is there a bonus incentive structure that goes along with this? So, those are really your three elements that you're going to look at in terms of consideration. The next element is the term. I'm not going to dwell into tax treatment here, but if you just think about what's the term, well, first off, with this cash, it could be, is it up front? Is it over time? At risk? Meaning, is there some sort of performance obligation with the payment? And honestly, the same thing applies to stock and equity. So up front, over time. So in this case, over time really means vest. Do they have to pay you upon severance? Like how do they buy you back out if you choose to leave the organization after a period of time? And same thing here. This is really going to come down to duration and terms, meaning is it 1 year, 2 years, severance, at will? So these are all levers that you have to pull when you're negotiating what does staying on board look like. So obviously, in terms of the lowest risk to you, that's going to be this guy right here, cash on the table, because that's cash on the table. Slightly less risky would be if you went with one of these, payment arrangements. Next most risky, obviously, would be stock in the new entity. So in this scenario, you're getting stock in the new entity. Maybe you got some cash on the table, but you're getting stock in the new entity. But at the same time, you don't really have control over how and when that entity sells. So it could be that it becomes valueless because the company goes bankrupt. Could be because it becomes valueless because there's some sort of dilutive feature built in where if they bring in other equity, you get diluted down to zero. So that's why it's the next most risky. And then obviously, it may seem a little bit counterintuitive, but obviously the most risky is salary and bonus because, unless you really, tighten up this piece down here in terms of the duration and the terms, really you could work there for 6 months, get fired, and then you're really left with nothing. At the same time, if the bonus is a significant component of the salary, then the challenge that you're going to face is, well, how much control do you really have in that? So if you think about this in a spectrum, if you were to map all these things out, then obviously, in reverse order, let's see if I can figure out a way to draw this. I don't want to show control going down, but I guess it's the only way that I can show this. But so less and more in terms of this salary versus bonus versus cash on the table, because if you are have a significant consideration associated with the salary or bonus, then obviously you want more control in how that bonus is going to be calculated and earned, Whereas cash on the table, outside of just, some sort of earnout, um, which would be, fairly typical, then you don't really need that much control because at the end of the day, it's cash on the table. So when you get an offer back, just remember that these are all variables that come into place in terms of negotiating what the package is going to look like. What we've seen is that, generally, this cash on the table, change colors here, this cash on the table is going to be related to your past performance. So it's hard to get somebody to pay cash on the table associated with something that is future oriented. But if there's a value gap, then a lot of ways that you get there is this is really the past plus future. And the salary and bonus is really future oriented in terms of the potential of what you can earn. So those are your big levers. Hopefully, this helps in your negotiation with the potential um, merger partner or buyer. And if you have any questions, as always, just give us a shout.